right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about K3Nova. Now, this is a tool that's designed to take one of the most powerful, and let's face it, one of the most complicated technologies in all of modern IT, and actually make it simple. So if you've ever felt like you're just on the outside looking in when it comes to the whole cloud-native world, we're in the right place. So to really get what K3Nova does, we first got to talk about Kubernetes, K8s. This thing it's literally the operating system of the modern cloud. It's the absolute backbone that orchestrates all those containers, automates deployments, and scales up your applications. Seriously, it's not just some buzzword, it's the standard. It's the engine that makes this whole dynamic, distributed, cloud-native world even possible. Which, of course, leads to the big question, right? If it's so powerful, why is it so ridiculously hard to use? I mean, for all that power, getting started with Kubernetes can feel like you're trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. You're just dropped into this world of complex architecture, a sea of endless YAML files, and a jungle of confusing command line tools. It's a super steep learning curve, and honestly, it can be pretty frustrating. And this is exactly where K3Nova comes in to save the day. On one hand, you have the usual Kubernetes setup challenge, wrestling with countless YAML files, decoding complex commands, and just a mountain of infrastructure work. But on the other hand, you've got the K3Nova solution. Instead of all that chaos, it promises one single config file, a super helpful interactive tool, and a completely guided, automated setup. It's designed to take away all that initial pain. Okay, so what is K3Nova really? At its heart, it's a slick, interactive command line tool that completely automates the whole process of installing, configuring, and managing Kubernetes clusters. And it does this using K3s. That's the lightweight, certified version of Kubernetes from Rancher, which makes it super efficient. You can think of it as your personal, automated assistant for building clusters. The why behind this tool is just as cool as the what. K3Nova wasn't built in some corporate lab. It was born from a developer's own frustration with all this complexity. The goals were really clear and powerful. First, lower the barrier to entry so more people can get in. Second, actually help people understand the concepts as they go. And most importantly, let developers get back to doing what they love, building awesome software, not fighting with infrastructure. So, the real magic behind K3Nova's simplicity is a concept called declarative configuration, and it's a game changer. See, instead of writing a huge script with step-by-step commands telling the system how to build your cluster, you do something much simpler. You just describe the final result you want, your desired state, in a single file. You say, this is what I want it to look like, and K3Nova handles all the complicated how to make it a reality. It's brilliant. And here it is. This is the heart of the whole operation. Everything, and I mean everything, is orchestrated from this one single file, the K3Nova config.json. Think about that. Instead of juggling dozens of different YAML files for every little thing, your entire cluster layout, from your control planes to your worker nodes to your Docker registry, it's all defined right here in one clean, readable place. And because of that declarative approach, the whole workflow becomes ridiculously simple. I'm not kidding. Getting a full cluster up and running is literally 3 steps. You download the tool, you check your config file to make sure it's what you want, and you run the installer. Boom. That's it. All those manual, error-prone steps you'd normally have to do, they're just gone. And this is a really crucial point. K3Nova isn't just a simple installer. It doesn't just hand you a bare-bones, empty cluster and say good luck. No way. It gives you a production-ready launchpad. A full environment that's packed with all the features you'd otherwise have to spend days, maybe even weeks, setting up by hand. And just look at this feature list. It's amazing. We're talking about a high-availability cluster right out of the box, so it's resilient. You get persistent storage with NFS already configured. It sets up your own private Docker registry. It even includes a full monitoring stack with Prometheus and Grafana, and automatic TLS certificates with Cert Manager. This is the definition of batteries included. It's everything you need to be truly productive from minute one. Okay, let's zoom in on one of these power-ups, because this is cool. The advanced traffic setup. See, the standard ingress that comes with K3s is great for web traffic, HTTP and HTTPS. But it's pretty limited. K3Nova's setup goes way beyond that. It lets you publish services that use raw TCP or UDP. So what does that mean? It means you can expose things like your Redis cache or your PostgreSQL database directly. That is a huge unlock for building more complex, real-world applications.
All right, another absolutely critical feature for any serious production-like environment is high availability, or HA. And guess what? K3Nova automates this for you too. By using 3 or more control plane nodes, it builds this super resilient cluster, where if one node fails, it doesn't take your whole system down with it. This is a legitimate enterprise-grade feature that you get just by flipping a switch in your config file. So you're probably wondering, how can I get my hands on this? Well, the tool comes in 3 different editions. The free edition is, honestly, it's incredibly generous. It's perfect for learning, for home labs, or for smaller projects. Then, as your needs start to grow, you can move up to the Pro and Enterprise tiers, which unlock more scale and other advanced features, like support for way more nodes. This really gets to the heart of who this is for. Are you a developer who just needs a local environment that actually looks like production? K3Nova is for you. Are you a DevOps engineer who's constantly spinning up and tearing down test clusters for your pipelines? Yep, it's for you. Or maybe you're on a platform team trying to build standardized, repeatable infrastructure for your whole company, then it is absolutely for you. And I think this quote from Andrej Schefer, the creator of K3Nova, just captures the whole spirit of the project perfectly. He said, "It's my personal attempts to build a bridge between theory and practice, between complexity and clarity, between infrastructure and development. It's not just about another tool, right? It's about closing that gap. It's about building a bridge that helps people cross over from the confusing world of theory to actually getting things done." So I want to leave you with this final thought. For so long, we've kind of just accepted this idea that powerful tools have to come with a brutally steep learning curve. It's just the price of admission. But Atuna K3Nova really challenges that whole assumption. It makes you ask a really important question, one that could shape the future of how we all work. What if the most complex, most powerful technologies were actually the easiest ones to start with?